discussed while loop and do while loop as a part of looping statement. Another kind of loop that we are going to discuss today, that is a for loop. So for loop is also a kind of entry control loop. So today's topic is for loop. Now, in case of entry control loop, we already know that the condition we apply before the execution of the body of the loop. And in every loop we have three components: initialization, condition and increment or decrement operation. So these three components is also required in case of for loop, that also required in while and do while also. But in case of for loop, the representation will be different. So general representation of for loop is like this. For, then we write the initialization, after that we provide a semicolon, then we write the condition, then another semicolon, then either increment or decrement operation. So that is the general syntax of the for loop. So first we write the initialization, then semicolon, we write the condition, then semicolon, then increment or decrement operation. So these three component is differentiated by using the semicolon. Initialization and condition is differentiated by this semicolon. The condition and the increment decrement operation is differentiated by this semicolon. Okay. So we write the for loop in that way: for so that is, so this is the initialization part. I equals to 1, we initialize the value. This is my condition, that is I less than equals to 10 until the condition become false, the loop will iterate. And this is my increment operation, because we have started from 1 and the end value of I is 10. So 1 to 10, to reach from 1 to 10 we have to perform the increment operation. So this is the basic format of the for loop. Now I will show how the for loop will execute, then some other different ways of writing the for loop also. So if I perform a particular operation for I equals to 1 semicolon, I less than equals to 10, that is my condition, then I plus plus, which is my increment operation, and this parenthesis is basically representing the body of the loop. So whatever we will write inside this parenthesis, inside this area, that will be executed repeatedly. So here if I just print C program. So how the loop will iterate? The loop, what will happen? The initialization operation will be performed first. First it will perform the initialization. Okay. So the value of I is equals to 1. Then it will go to the condition, that is number 2. Then it will go to the condition and it will verify the condition, it is true or false. If the condition is true, then if the condition is true, then it will iterate the body of the loop. Okay. So after the condition it is not going to the increment operation. After the condition it will come to the inside of the loop if the condition is true. And after execution, so that means C program will be printed, because the printf statement will get executed. So in the output we will get C program as output. Okay. After performing this, that means here is the end of the body. So when the body is end, then it will go to the increment or decrement operation. So after execution of the body of the loop, it will go to the increment or decrement operation, and the value of I, it will increase. So the value of I will become 2. So the value of I will become 2. After that, again it will get back to the condition. After that, it will get back to the condition, and then the same process will repeat. So here is basically the loop. Here is basically the loop. So if the condition is true, again it will execute the body. So for I equals to 2, obviously the condition will be true. So we will get C program as output. Okay. Then after that, again it will go to the increment operation. So the value of I will be 3. Again we will get C program as output. In that way, up to the value of I equals to 10, the condition will remain true. The condition will remain true. So for I equals to 10, again C program will be printed. After that, the value of I will become 11. And when the value of I becomes 11 due to this increment operation, and again it will get back to the condition. So this time the condition will be false. When the value of I is 11, this condition is false. Then the body of the loop will stop. It will not iterate. Okay. So that is a general way how we can write the for loop and how the for loop get executed. First we perform the initialization, then condition, verify the condition. If it is true, the body will be executed. After the execution of the body, it will go to the increment, then it will go to the condition again, and the process will continue. So basically you see, if we draw the flowchart of the for loop, it will be exactly similar to the NG control loop. It will be exactly similar to the NG control loop. Initialization, then we check the condition. If true, then body will be executed. After the body, increment will be done or decrement. Decrement will be done. Then again it will get back to the condition, and the process will continue until the condition become false. This will continue until the condition become false. So this flowchart is for for loop, and it is exactly following the flowchart of the NG control loop. That's why we call for loop is also a NG control loop. Now, this declaration or the syntax of for loop that we have written is a general format. Now, not necessarily always we have to represent the for loop in the similar format. What we can do, we can write the for loop in separate manner also. So in for loop basically we have two semicolon. Okay. So the first semicolon part is initialization, then condition, then increment or decrement operation. Okay. But not necessarily always we have to initialize the value inside the for loop. We can initialize the value before the for loop also, no problem. Not necessarily always we have to write the condition here. Okay. Not necessarily always we have to write the condition is here, and increment and decrement we can perform inside the body also. I am just giving a very simple example. If I write here I equals to 1, okay, and if I keep it blank, I am not writing anything at the initialization part, I have kept it blank, and here I can write I less than equals to 10, I less than equals to 10, and the increment operation I perform here, I plus plus inside the body of the loop. Okay, inside the body of the loop. So what will happen? Initialization will be performed only once. So it will perform the initialization, then come to the for loop. There is no initialization, no more initialization is here. We have not written anything here. So initialization is no more required, not at all required, because already we have initialized the value previous the for. So the value of I should be initially, some value of I should be there. Not necessarily that value we have to initialize here, but initialization should be there. Okay, initialization is mandatory. Without initialization, it is not possible. Now here it will come to the condition. After condition, it will come here. Okay, then the I plus plus operation will be automatically performed if the condition is true, because I plus plus is inside the body. So whatever we are writing inside the body, of the loop, that will be executed. So printf and I plus plus. Both the instructions are inside the body of the loop. So if the condition is true, then both these instructions will be automatically performed. So I plus plus already we are doing. So from here it will come to the increment or decrement part, but it is blank. So increment and decrement is not required here, but the value of I already we have increased inside. So from here it will come to the condition and the same process will repeat. So in that way we can also write a for loop. Not necessarily we have to perform all the initialization, increment, decrement operation inside the loop. We can perform it in that way also. It is also possible. So that is also a valid syntax for the for loop. Now what is in case of while also, in case of do while also, in case of for also, what is infinite loop? That is a very important question. What is infinite loop? If I write the same, let us take, if I write the value of I is equals to 1, okay, and I less than equals to 10, and here if I perform I minus minus instead of I plus plus, I perform I minus minus statement. Now here we have a printf statement, for example, C program. Okay, so when for, let us take plus. So when it is I plus plus, the question is how many times this printf statement will get executed. How many times this printf statement will execute. So the printf statement will execute until this condition become false. Until this condition become false. So for which value of I this condition is going to be false. For which value of I this condition is going to be false. So for the value of I equals to 11, for the value of I equals to 11 only this condition will be false. So 1, we are starting from I equals to 1, 2, 3 in that way up to 10. Up to 10 the condition will be true, and then when the value of I will become 11 the condition will be false. So basically you can see for the value of I equals to 1 to 10 the condition will be true. That means 10 times. So the loop will execute 10 times. So this C program in the output, if you print it, that I will show you. If you print it, then the C program will be executed, or you will get 10 times C program to be printed in the output screen. Okay. Now what I am doing, I am just changing this I plus plus into I minus minus. Now we are performing decrement operation, no more increment operation. Okay. So now when the condition will become false, when the condition will become false, that is the question. So here the initial value of I, that we have considered as 1. Okay. What is the next value of I? We are performing decrement operation carefully. So if we are performing decrement, then the next value of I will be 0. Next again decrement, another decrement, it will be minus 1. Another decrement, it will be minus 2, minus 3, and so on. So in that way, the value of I will be always less than 10. The value of I will never be greater than 10, because we are performing decrement operation. So this is the value of I, that is 1, okay, and it is moving towards this 0, minus 1, minus 2. So the value of I is moving towards this negative, and this is the value of maximum value of I that we have considered. Okay. So what is happening here, the value of I is moving at the opposite direction, of the maximum value of I. So here the value of I will never reach to 10. The value of I will never reach to 10, and this condition will never be false. The condition will never be false. It will always remain true. So that is called infinite loop. This kind of loop is called infinite loop, where the execution of the loop will never terminate depending on a condition, or in a loop where the condition will never be true, never be false, where the condition will never be false. Or in other words, what we can say, for every value of I, for any value of the I, in this example I, for any value of I, the condition will always remain true. So this type of situation lead to a infinite loop. Okay, so how we can avoid this problem of infinite loop? We can avoid the problem of infinite loop by analyzing or in performing these three components properly. Okay, we have to initialize a perfect value, we have to apply a perfect condition, as well as we have to apply the perfect operation, increment or decrement. Not only this, if I, for example, here it is same, it was I plus plus, now it is I plus plus, it is also I plus plus. Okay, now it will not lead to an infinite loop, because the value of I, as we are moving from now this, we are moving from basically towards this, so the value of I is increasing, so we are moving to the maximum value. So once it will cross it, that is. But if I change the condition, that value of I greater than equal to 10, and here we have considered I equals to 10. The value of I is equals to 10, or we can say the value of I is equals to 0, and the value of I is greater than equals to 0. Now we perform E plus plus. So for this, what will happen? This is our initial value of I, which is 0. Okay, and the value is also here, the value is we have considered as 0. Okay, so the first condition will be true, then the value of I will become 1, then 2, then 3. So the value of I will moving in that word, because we are performing the increment operation. So due to the increment operation, the value of I will move from 0 to 1, 2, 3 and so on in that way. And this condition will never be false. I greater than equals to 0. So always the value of I will be greater than 0. Always the value of I will be greater than 0. So the condition will never be false. That will also lead to an infinite loop. Now if I make it 10, instead of 0, then it will be converted to a finite loop, not an infinite loop. So what I want to say is that if we are if we are not analyzing or identifying the condition properly, if we cannot identify the operation of increment or decrement properly, then a for loop may lead to a infinite loop. And this concept is also applicable in for while loop as well as do while loop. So any loop may lead to a infinite loop.
So in this program we are going to discuss the for loop and how the for loop get executed. So as you see here, how we write the for loop. So we have taken a variable I to control the loop, and as while and do while, for loop has also three component: initialization, condition and increment or decrement. So this is the initialization part, this is the condition I less than 11, and plus plus I is the increment operation. And these three component we have differentiated by using the semicolon, as you see here. I equals to 1, after that we have provided a semicolon, then we provide the condition, then we provide semicolon, then increment. So from this semicolon the compiler comes to know that before the first semicolon this expression is initialization, after the first semicolon that is the condition, and at the end after this semicolon whatever it is, that will be increment or decrement operation. Now inside the loop, this is the body, this opening and closing parenthesis representing the body of the loop. So where I basically print the value of I. Now this is the syntax how we write the for loop. Now if I execute the program, what output we will get, that is printing 1 to 10. It is printing 1 to 10. As the value of I is 1, so the condition will be true and it will print the value of I. Then it will come to the increment, then it will go to the condition, and after the increment the value of I will become 2, So for the value of I equal to, the condition will be again true, so the body of the loop will again execute, and after execution again it will go to the increment operation. Now the value of I will be 3, then again it will go to the condition. As the condition is true, again the value of I will be printed. In that way, once the value of I will become 11, after 10 the value of I will become 11 due to the increment operation, and for the value of I equal to 11 the condition will be false, so it will stop the iteration. So the flow of execution is like this. The initialization will be done only once. After initialization the condition will be verified. Depending on the condition, the body of the loop will execute. If the condition is true, then only the body of the loop will execute, and after execution of the body it will go to the increment operation within the for loop, and after the increment again it will go to the condition for verification, and depending on that again it will repeat the body, and until and unless the condition become false, this process will continue. So that is how the for loop get execute. This is another example of for loop. So using this program, that is basically I want to show the application of for loop, in which type of program we apply the concept of for loop. So the program that we have done using while loop, do while loop, that can also be execute, that problems can also be solved by using the for loop, because using for loop also we can execute a set of statement multiple times, and for loop is one kind of entry control loop like while. Now here in this problem basically what we are doing, we will provide a range and we will find out sum of the numbers within that range starting from 1. That means if I enter 5, then it will give us the result of 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. So from starting from 1 to the number, it will find out the sum. So here the sum operation we have to perform repeatedly. 1 plus 2, then plus 3, then plus 4, then plus 5. That means this addition operation we are performing repeatedly. So we have taken the input basically. Now come to this loop, where we have taken the count as a variable to control the loop. So initial value of I is equal to 1 up to number. That means if I enter the value of num equal to 5, so the loop will iterate 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If the value of num is 10, the loop will iterate 10 times. So whatever value we will enter here in num variable, depending on that the number of loop will execute. Now that is the body of the loop, where we basically perform the sum operation. As I have already said, this which operation we are going to perform repeatedly, that operation will come inside the body of the loop. So here, as we are performing the addition operation repeatedly, we mention the addition operation inside the body of the loop. So that is the addition operation that we are performing, sum equal to sum plus count. So initial value of sum is 0. So when the count will be 1, it will be 0 plus 1. As I can show you here, initial value of s is equal to 0. After the first iteration it will be 0 plus 1. Then when the value of count will be 2, it will be plus 2. Then the value of count will be 3, so it will be plus 3. Then the value of count will be 4, then it will be plus 4. In that way it will perform up to num. Okay. And when the value of count reaches to num plus 1, then it will exit out of the loop, as the condition will become false, and print the value of sum. So let me show you, if I execute the program, what output we are getting. So if I enter 5, that means we want to find out 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. So the result we are getting is 15, and that is exactly right. If you enter 10, then it will be 55. That means it will 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus, and that way up to 10 plus 10. So in that way, but just by entering the range, you can find out sum of all the digits, all the numbers within the range starting from 1. So here we can apply the concept of for loop. This is the not only application of for loop, but from here, from this program, what we can say that whenever a particular set of statement need to be executed repeatedly into a program, that set of statement we can execute by the concept of loop. It may be while loop, it may be do while loop, it may be for loop also.